bienvenidos. I am Professor Chris Davison, and I'm here to help you learn Spanish. This is one in a series of short videos that explain different concepts of Spanish grammar. The entire series of videos can be found on my website, vamostutoring.com, along with other useful information on class schedules and apps and other resources to help you on your journey to learn Spanish. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and I can help you with class schedules, tutoring sessions, or all sorts of other useful information. Enjoy the video. Muy bien. So here is our first lesson on a verb. Most common verb is going to be ser. Okay. Before we start conjugating a verb, well, we'll go ahead and put ser here. But before we do that, we need to talk about subject pronouns. So that's in English like I, you, we, things like that. So in Spanish, we have our subject pronouns. We have yo, which is I, tú, you, él, he, ella, she, usted. Now, usted is another form of you, right? In Spanish, we have an informal you, tú, and a formal you, usted. And if we were spelling that out, it would be usted. But you pretty much always just see it abbreviated capital U, D. Okay. Hundreds and hundreds of years ago, it used to be capital V and a D, and the reason we have that, it's the formal. It came from vuestra merced, which means your grace. So they would use it in the court, speaking to the nobles. And it was the way they would speak more politely, more formal. And so that has turned into usted, which is the UD, right? Capital U, D period. So that's formal. Tú is informal. Now these are singular, and we also have plural. Okay, so yo or I would be singular. The plural of I is we. Spanish, that's nosotros. Okay. Plural of you would be vosotros. Plural of he, él, would be ellos. Plural of she, ella, is ellas. And the plural of usted is ustedes. Again, if you were spelling it out, usted, remember to make a plural, you add an es if it's a consonant, ustedes. But you'll just see it abbreviated capital UDS. Okay, so we have singular and plural. Now, as we're using these, a word about vosotros, some of you might already know that you're like, oh, I've never heard vosotros. So in Spain, this is the way it works. You have the singular column, the plural column, tú, talking to a friend or family member, vosotros, talking to a group of friends or family members. That's how it works in Spain. Usted, you're talking to a professor, somebody you don't know very well, somebody older person, you're respectful. Ustedes, talking to a group of older people, professors, people you're being more respectful with. That's how it works in Spain. In the Americas, they stopped using vosotros. They don't use vosotros in the Americas. And for the plural of tú, they use usted. Same as for the plural of, they use ustedes. So tú, talking to a friend or family. Ustedes, talking to a group of friends or family. Usted, formal. Tú, informal. Ustedes, in the Americas, is both formal and informal. Or you, plural. Okay, so let's fill in with our first verb conjugation. Okay. Ser means to be. So ser is in the infinitive form. The infinitive is before you've conjugated the verb, before you've done anything to it. The idea why it's called an infinitive is because there's an infinite possibilities of what you can do to the verb. Infinitive. Not really an infinite possibility, but you can conjugate it in the future, conjugate it in the past, conjugate it in the present perfect, conjugate it in the past subjunctive, the conditional. You've got all these different tenses that you can conjugate the verbs in, and they all start with the infinitive. In Spanish, the infinitive is one word. It's always going to end with either an AR, an ER, or an IR. In English, the infinitive always is two words. It's to something, to be, to eat, to run, to sleep, to talk. Okay? Spanish, one word, English, two words. So let's conjugate it. Ser is an irregular verb. You'll love it when we get to regular verbs. They follow a nice pattern and you can just drop the ending and add a new ending. But ser is irregular, so we just have to learn the whole new form. So maybe repeat after me. Yo soy. Great. Tú eres. Great. Now, these three are going to share the same form. So we're just going to write it once here. Repite. Repeat after me. Él es. Ella es. Usted es. Great. Then we've got the plurals. Nosotros somos. Great. Vosotros sois. Very good. And then these again are going to share the same form. Ellos son. Ellas son. Ustedes son. Great. So that is conjugating the verb ser, our first verb, very common verb, in the present tense. Okay. One thing about difference English and Spanish. In English, we always need the subject pronouns, right? We have to say I am. We can't just say am. We say you are. He is. We are. So we have to say the subject pronouns in English because we can't just say are. Are from the United States. Do you mean we are, they are, you are? So we need the we and the you and the they. Well, in Spanish, you see all six forms are different. So we really don't need the yo or the tú or the el when we're speaking or even writing. You can just say soy and you know that it's I am. You can say somos and you know that it's we are because there's no other choice. Somos is always nosotros. Okay, so that's just a little bit of information, and that'll come up again and again. Okay, while we're doing the verb to be, we're going to do estar as well. So estar is another verb that means to be. Okay, this causes English speakers some confusion because we'll talk about when to use ser and when to use estar in just a second. For now, let's go ahead and conjugate it. I'll go ahead and write the subject pronouns again, even though you don't necessarily need them, but we're just getting used to them. Okay, so repeat after me. Yo estoy. Great. Tú estás. Él está. Ella está. Usted está. Nosotros estamos. Great. Together. So after nosotros estamos, the plural of you, again, is you or y'all. Vosotros estáis. Repeat after me. Vosotros estáis. So we have the singular you, and then in English, the plural you is the same, you and you. Sometimes it's y'all or yous guys, depending on what part of the country you're from. Then we will continue with the they, right? So we have él está, and then we go to ellos están. Repeat that. Ellas están. Ustedes están. Okay? So estar is a little easier than said. It's got a little bit of a pattern to it. Estoy, estás, está, estamos, estáis, están. And pay attention, we've got some written accents on our A's on some of those forms. Okay? All right, so that is how to conjugate ser and estar. Now we'll just do a quick little list of when to use one, when to use the other. So if we're going to do the uses of ser, I have on some books break it down differently. I basically have 4 uses of ser and 2 uses of estar. Okay, so for ser, we're going to use it for permanent characteristics. Something like soy hombre, right? I'm a man, right? Soy Chris. If somebody were tall, say, Shaquille O'Neal es alto. How somebody looks, Brad Pitt es guapo. It's a permanent characteristic, right? Our second one is origin. So where someone is from. I could say about myself, soy de Oregon. De meaning from, so I am from Oregon, right? Any nationalities, states, whatever, where you're from. A third use of ser is occupation. So for myself, I could say soy profesor, right? I'm a professor, soy profesor. Brad Pitt, es actor. It's a profession. Okay. You're not going to say estoy profesor, right? Soy. Even though they both mean I am, soy and estoy, talking about profession, you're going to use ser. And our fourth use of ser is to tell time. And that'll be our next video lesson. We'll be telling time. And with estar, I just simplify it to 2 uses. First one is what I call a temporary condition. So something like, estoy contento. I'm happy, right? Oops. Let's do that one better. Get it correct. Write what I'm saying. Estoy contento, right? Maybe I have a cold. I could say estoy enfermo, right? I'm sick. It's just a temporary condition, okay? And our second use of estar is location. It's a very common use of estar. If we were live in person in a class, I could say estamos en la clase. Right now, I could say estoy en mi oficina. Right? I am in my office. Okay? So estar for location or a temporary condition. All right, great. That's our explanation on how to conjugate ser and estar with a little bit about the uses of ser and estar. And we'll practice those a lot as we go. So the beginning, they're a little confusing for English speakers, but then you get the hang of them. And again, the important thing to remember is the infinitive is the form of the verb before we've conjugated it. And we'll talk about that a lot more, and we'll get to some regular verbs next. Muy bien. I hope you enjoyed the video. And remember, if you have any questions, just reach out to me at vamostutoring.com. Ciao.